Hi everyone. Okay, so far on this unit we've been looking at creating graphics using Photoshop. So you should feel pretty comfortable in Photoshop now and doing lots of the basics with graphics. So now we're going to start looking at doing animations in Photoshop, and there are two different ways we can go about doing that. I'm going to begin by creating my canvas. Okay, so I'm going to go new, and I'm just going to, there are lots of different presets here, but I'm just going for a square 400 pixels by 400. I'm going to leave the resolution on 72 pixels per inch because that's absolutely fine for anything that's going to be shown on a screen. And I'm going to hit create. Okay, so that's given me my canvas, my work area. Okay, the next thing I need to do is to make sure that I've got my animation panel. Now it's showing as being here now because I've been playing about with it, but it won't unless you've got it activated in the window option. So in window, you scroll down and you can see mine's got a little tick in it. If yours hasn't, just click on it and the timeline will appear. Okay, so I'll just take it out. There you go, it's gone away. I'm going to click on it and there it is. Okay, so like I said, there are two types of animation that we can be having a go of. One is the one where you want to show off a little bit of your artistic talent and do a frame by frame animation where you literally like using a flip book. And the second, if I go down here, is a frame animation where you can let the computer do a little bit more of the heavy lifting. So a lot of my students end up going for a frame animation, but I want to show you both. But in this tutorial, we're going to look at a video timeline. Now, once students select what they want, they usually expect it to go straight to it. And when it doesn't, sometimes they get a little bit, oh, what do I do now? And it's because this button doesn't look like a button. It is a button though, so if you click on it, it'll create that timeline for you. And you can see you've got an audio track line, timeline. You've got whatever layers you've got in your assets. Yeah, so whatever you've got going on. So if I add a new layer in there, you'll see it adds a new layer here. So these are these just shown on the timeline. I'm going to take that one away again because I don't need it. Okay, so you've got your layers, and now what we want to do is add our animation layers, if you like. So I'm going to go up to layer. Okay, I'm going to video layers and I'm going to go for a blank new video layer, and now you'll see that I've got this different layer here. Okay, and this is the one where I'm going to have an animation, and I can stack these so I can have different ones on different layers in a similar way that we use layers sort of generally in Photoshop. Okay, so we've got our animation. We're almost sort of set up. I'm just going to go into here and we're going to look at the frame rate. Okay, so this is defaulted to 30. This is basically for this is like 30 pictures per second, which there's a lot of work for a second. So for this practice, we're going to go for a custom one, but I think like anime is like 12 frames per second, and sort of general cartoons more like 24. But obviously the more frames that you have, the smoother the animation will look. We're going to go for a custom, and because we don't want to take all day just having a little practice, I'm going to set it on 4 frames per second and click on OK. Now you can see that our timeline looks really, really tiny, and it's going to be really hard to work with. So just under here we've got a slider, and I'm just going to zoom in, if you like, just so that we can see them frames a little bit easier. Okay, so we're almost ready to go. The last thing I think I'll show you in this is the onion skin. Now onion skin is really good because it allows you to see what you've got drawn on a previous frame, so that you can sort of trace it and just make your little tiny differences. It makes it so much easier to see and imagine where you're at and where to start from. So I'm going to pop that on and you'll see it in action in a minute. The only other thing I want to show you in here I've already got enabled, and that is the enable timeline shortcut keys, and that's because I like to use the right arrow to move from frame to frame when I'm doing an animation. So I put that on and the right arrow will work then to get you across your frames. Okay, so we're ready to go. We're going to just create a little basic animation. So it's not going to be great, but I've just got a paintbrush that's size 10 and just hard and round. So it's just going to create that sort of chunky cartoon style line. I'm on my first frame, so I'm just literally going to, just get my graphics pen. I'm literally just going to create a really basic sort of smiley face. There we go. So that's the beginning of my animation. I'm going to do my right arrow to move to the next one, and you can see that I can still see that image from my last frame. So I know that if I go just a little bit higher, it's going to move it up. And if I go to the next frame, I can see my previous frame. And it allows me to make sure I know where I'm putting my next one. I mean, I'm just doing a really basic animation here, guys, as you can see. But you can see how that onion skinning is allowing me to know where to go. And now it's flattening out. There we go. So I've got a few frames in there, I didn't keep track of it. But if I go down to the slider here, I can go back and forth and see how my animation's working out. When I play my animation, I don't really want to see the onion skin, so I can add that and take it off whenever I want to. And now I can see how my animation's going. And I've obviously, if you have a look here, you can see I can go back to the beginning, I can play my animation, I can take it back to the beginning, I can take it to the end. And that's basically it. If you want to see your animation working, you can export it as a PNG, and then you'll be able to sort of watch it outside the package. You can save for web, save it as a GIF. But that's the basics of doing an animation. What I'd really like you guys to do is to just have a play about with it. Get the basic settings like I have, and then, you know, do stick mem walls or whatever, but just have a little play around with it. Have fun with it, guys. I'll see you later.